Everybody, final thoughts time for Arkham Horror, the card game, which is fantastic. I gotta say, I am gobsmacked how much I have enjoyed this game. I went in full of trepidation, not because I knew it was gonna be a scary, horrific, a roller coaster ride of terror and thrills, but because this is definitely, on the surface, not a game that my wife Jen or I should have any business enjoying, and yet we both had a blast playing this game. Let's talk about all the stuff it does really well. Obviously, more than anything else, this game is so thematic and so atmospheric. I mean, the world really comes to life, and it's amazing. It's an incredible accomplishment how this game can tell such spellbinding and engrossing and internally, logistically consistent stories just using a bunch of cards. And that's because of a bunch of really smart design decisions. The fact that the encounter deck isn't just a bunch of random stuff that just seems weird and out of place. You build this thing with specific stuff, filling up with specific items or challenges to overcome that will fit within the story you're playing is absolutely brilliant. So that everything always feels grounded, and this game isn't full of weird, well, what is that doing here? That makes no sense. Well, just roll with it. This game just does a beautiful job at making everything make sense, and everything has a logical consistency. And then on top of that, probably the thing that makes Jen and I enjoy it the most is, I've often talked about how I'm not a big fan of roll and resolve. Hey, okay, we come in here, all the best laid plans of mice and men, get all put into place, but then you roll a die and fingers crossed, hope it succeeds. That's a big part of what kills Eldritch Horror for us and other Ameritrash style games. That we would much rather the game be about, less about risk mitigation and luck of the roll, and more about long-term strategic planning. So, what I love more than anything else about this game is the fact that every card in your hand is a dual-use card. They've all got these great special powers they do, and you want to spend time to get them and use them for that. But in a pinch, you can use any card for these little skill bonuses to help ensure or significantly up the chance of success whenever you have to roll the die and, fingers crossed, beat the bad guy or avoid the trap or research the arcane ritual or whatever it is you have to do. Normally, you just roll die, hope for the best, but in this game you have so much more control because you've got a handful of cards that can help, and it's always a tough decision of, I really want to get this played, but man, we need to succeed at this. Okay, let's go on ahead and burn through some cards to do that. And I also love, too, the fact that, if you're going to be rolling dice, this is so much cooler than dice because it's a customizable die. First of all, if you're finding the game being too hard, if you set it to easier so that there are more success chips in here and fewer bad discs in there, it makes a huge difference. But what's so clever is, over the course of a given adventure, there can be events that happen that will tell the player, hey, put additional things in the cup so that the die can change and evolve over the course of the game to respond to events that happen. That's brilliant too. There are so many cool, wonderful, fun gameplay elements. And while I have to admit, I'm not the biggest fan in the universe of the core of this game, which is just move from region to region, roll dice, or in this case, draw from the cup to collect clues. Once you get enough clues, flip a card, read a story snippet, and then do it all over again. And along the way, deal with a bunch of bad guys who are chasing you. That's the core of this game, the core loop. And it's fine, but it is my least favorite part of the game. It's a little procedural, a little mechanical, a little just kind of there. But it is a solid skeleton that the design hangs on, and there's so much great stuff with this design that I don't mind that the core of puzzle of the game is just a little bit pedestrian, just a little bit so-so, because everything around that is so brilliant. Like I said, it's so rich and robust and full of life. Jen liked it too. As soon as she found out that she could do enough deck construction that she could take all the guns out of her deck, so she didn't have to, she didn't mind, using a knife to defend herself or whatever, but she was able to build characters that focus more on just trying to evade bad things and investigate and help your teammate. And then I was the one who had to do all the heavy lifting and all the fighting because Jen hates ever playing a game where she has to put a real world gun in her hand. It's a real turnoff for her. So the fact that we were able to build decks that work well with each other, but it also give her the opportunity to role play the type of character she wants to be was brilliant. And so that was very enticing. Although again, to be, like I said in the main run through, to do any kind of deck building at all, you gotta buy 2 copies of the base box because there's very little to be done otherwise. Either that or, buy 1 copy of the base box and then go out and buy a bunch of expansions. Because this game's only been out for what, a half a year now? A little bit more than that. And there's already a ton of expansions because that is the business model of this. This is what's called a living card game. And what that means is it lives because the publisher Fantasy Flight every month or every other month puts out new expansions, just little boxes of cards that give you new characters, new items, new monsters, and new storyline adventures to go on. And so, while you get a fair amount of replay in the base game. The base game comes with 3 adventures, 5 characters, and the 3 adventures that come in this game are very hard. They create 1 campaign, and the first time Jen and I, we played through the entire campaign, we won just barely, but it was a bad win. It was kind of a compromised, corrupted win. We didn't get a good win, so we would want to do some more deck construction, make some more characters, and go through it again and try. But as soon as you're tired of those, just go out and buy one of these little boxes of expansions and you get a whole bunch of new adventures. There's also big box expansions that give you like a bunch of adventures. Or if you don't want to buy anything else, if you want to say, hey, I don't want to be held hostage and just be forced to constantly have to spend more and more money to get replay value out of this, you just saw me playing an excellent, well-designed adventure that was as good and professional as anything you're going to get from Fantasy Flight, and I downloaded it for free and just printed it out. There are already dozens of adventures out there. So, the game, just of 1 box by itself, has legs. I would suggest, though, if you are serious about this game at all, buy 2 because deck construction is a big part of the game and it's a big part of the fun. Now that I know how this particular adventure I was playing works, I would definitely construct decks with very specific targets in mind so that we'd be able to succeed and do well. And heck, maybe even play this adventure I just did on hard difficulty. But without at least another copy of the base box, you just can't do any meaningful deck building. So I guess that's kind of a problem. But some people might be upset about that. I don't think it's really that big a deal because you do get enough to be able to play. It says right here that this is a 2-player game. And with 2 players, I think there are 3 different combinations of, you can't combine all the different starting investigators with all the other ones, but I think there's 3 or 4 combinations you can do, plus the 3 adventures that can be played standalone or part of a campaign. The campaign has multiple endings depending on how you succeed through the various ones. Although honestly, the first storyline in the campaign, which is a tutorial, I would never be excited about playing that one again. But the second and third, they were both very, very cool. But then on top of that, there are dozens of really great adventures out there you can just download for free and continue to get a lot out of this box. I gotta say, I'm super impressed. I expected to hate this game, but it turned out I really, really enjoyed it quite a bit. And I'll be honest, the only reason I'm not keeping this is 2 reasons. One, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole of feeling the need to constantly buy more and more content for this game. I don't want to fall into that trap because I know I would. I have this kind of completionist bug. I'd have to be constantly every month, I got to get the new stuff. And then I never get to play it because as doing Rahdo runs through, I never get to go back and revisit games. But if I didn't do Rahdo runs through, I think this would totally be a keeper for me because I would want to come back into this box over and over and over again and try different characters and do different deck construction and buy more expansions and have. The other thing I love about this too is the campaign play is really built strongly into this because, like I said, there's a 3 storyline campaign, and the way the game is designed, after the storyline is over, you can say, okay, we're done with these characters. Win or lose, we're done. Or you can say no. Whatever happened to those characters continues. And when you buy more expansions for this, you can continue playing those characters. So as their decks get stronger and stronger, you can go into the next adventures, but here's the thing. Over time, when you finish adventures, you can sometimes take permanent damage. Not temporary damage like what you saw me do, but like permanent mental scarring or permanent more weakness scars that get added to your deck. So over time, you become stronger as you level up and put cool, new, powerful cards in your deck, but you also become weaker as you become closer and closer to just being full-on insane right from the get-go. So, I mean, I love that flexibility. And the fact some of the expansions are like big boxes that, introduce a whole new storyline, but then there are other ones that are small that like give you little side quests you can go on during a big campaign or flesh out and continue building campaigns. It's really smart. I'm trying to think of bad stuff to say about it. Like I said, but the only thing is the central skeleton of this game is a little generic. Find clues, spend clues, walk through doors, find more clues, rinse and repeat. But that's not where the excitement is. The excitement is all the fun, surprising twists and turns as different things get in your way and prevent you from doing that very simple action. And the smart play, because every card in your hand is a multi-use card, and the tough, insanely tough decisions you have to make. And not for nothing, it is a blast to do deck construction in this game and then test out those decks and see how well they do in action. Those three things elevate this game. It's a phenomenal design. I'm not keeping it, like I said, mostly because in my circumstances, I would not get a chance to leverage this to the full potential. But if it weren't for that, this would be a total keeper, and I would probably get on the Arkham Horror card game train big time and buy every single expansion that ever came out. So I guess that's the other thing to warn you about. This is addictive. This is a box of adventure crack. So if that's something you got to know going in. You are opening up a big, deep rabbit hole you could fall into when you check this out. And that's it, folks. That's Arkham Horror, the card game. Like I said, right up front, I am blown away by just how much fun, just how much of a blast this game is, how much Jen and I enjoyed it. And that's it, folks. Thanks for watching. Now, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, as always, please let me know. Apologies for any goofs I made. I'm sure I made a few here or there, but hopefully you have a pretty good idea of how it plays. And otherwise, thanks for watching. Have a very, very nice day. Talk to you later. So long. Bye-bye.